In this video, I'm going to provide you a step-by-step roadmap checklist to becoming a successful videographer. Honestly, this is the checklist I wished I had when I was first starting out as a videographer. I built this checklist from all the experiences I've had, what has actually worked for me, and I think this will be absolutely valuable for those of you who are thinking about becoming videographers. So here are the 6 things we're going to be going over in this video. Number 1 is understanding the videography industry. Number 2 is developing the essential skills needed. 3 is going to be building your portfolio. 4 is finding and managing clients. 5 is client workflow and project management. 6 is continuous improvement and learning. So step number 1 is getting to know the videography industry. So let me share you this quote. Content is king, but context is God. This means that while creating great content is important, knowing who your audience is and how to connect with them is just as essential. So as a videographer, your job is not only to create content, but to create content that targets a particular audience, that conveys a particular information or solicits a particular reaction once they've consumed that particular video. So now, before you dive into it, you should look at different sectors. So there's a bunch of different industries. So you could either be a real estate videographer, a videographer who creates commercials, event videos, or music videos. There's a lot of different sectors you can go into. And what I typically recommend at the beginning is honestly, try a lot of them. Just give each of them a feel to see if you actually like them, because the roles are different, the kind of clients you deal with are different, the deliverables are very different. So you want to, before you completely jump into it, test it out and see if you like it out first, and try other industries as well. So step number 2 is building your skill. So there's some certain skills you need to develop to become a successful videographer. So don't worry, don't feel overwhelmed. I have them listed out here. So there's some hard skills and some soft skills that you need to learn. So we'll just go over them. So the hard skills. So number 1, you want to learn how to operate your camera. So number 2 is figuring out and learning how to properly light is honestly the best thing you do for your profession. So go all in, figure that out. Next is editing. You want to master some key softwares. Honestly, I recommend DaVinci, hands down the best, and I'll explain why. Because the next one you need to learn is color grading, and color grading, DaVinci is the best to me, in my opinion, when it comes to coloring certain videos, and honestly makes it look, my God, because you can control every single element. So you need to be really good at color grading too as well. So that's the next skill you should try learning, and all of this you can go get courses, and you can watch a lot of YouTube videos that break all of this down. Number 5 is sound design. Honestly, don't overlook sound design. At the beginning when I first started, I was overlooking it. I didn't think it was that important, but to be honest with you, people can see through a terrible video and they'll manage it as long as the audio is good. But if the audio is terrible and the video is super high quality, people would not have patience to watch the entire video. So what I recommend is figuring out sound design. Number 6 is storyboarding. Planning is absolutely everything. Just structuring out your creativity goes a long way, rather than just going up to the day of shoot and just freestyling it. You tend to find that if you've done proper planning before the shoot, you have such huge success. The next thing you need to learn is marketing. So you have to learn how to market yourself. You need to learn how to put content out on social media. You need to learn SEOs for your website, and creating the content for the right people. So that's what you want to learn. Those are the hard skills you want to figure out first. Now let's go into the soft skills. So when it comes to the soft skills, sales is something you need to learn. And what is sales? Sales is simply just uncovering the pain points of your clients, just figuring out what exactly do they want. So once you learn this now, you're able to just simply close that particular client. That's all sales is. So take some courses, read some books about it, and don't forget to always practice, and that's what's going to make you get better at it. Number 2 is project management. This one is very big. You need to be able to manage projects from start to finish, especially when you start to grow and you're dealing with 2 or 3, 4 clients. Number 3 is finance and bookkeeping. You need to be able to keep your finances in order. You need to be able to keep proper bookkeeping records, and at the beginning you can do this yourself, and honestly in the future you save yourself a lot of issues if you start this from the beginning. Next is networking. You really want to build proper relationships with the people in the industry and also with your clients. You want to be able to convert to get your clients to be recurring clients. So meaning that if they do business with you last month, they should want to do business with you again next month. Next is adaptability. You have to be able to stay flexible. You have to know what is changing in your particular industry, the new styles, keep up with the trends. Number 6 is creativity. You want to always find ways to come up with creative ideas. So figure out what you can do for yourself to remain creative. 7 is client management. You need to learn how to manage your clients well. Set clear expectations where you guys both understand what the outcomes of this partnership is going to be. Communicate really well to them so that you guys are on the same page. The last thing you want is your client saying, I thought you were going to do this. And then you as the individual are like, no, but you said this. You want to be on the same page with your clients because they are the ones paying your bills. So step number 3 is building your portfolio. Now, this is very important because our portfolio is simply just showing the client that you can do a particular kind of work that they want to hire you for. So there are different ways in which you can go about doing this. I'll show you how I ended up doing mine. So when I first started, I went the route of going into the event industry. So what I did was I just picked my camera, I shot a DM to people who actually were doing an event and say, hey, can I get a media pass to record or film your event that's going on next Saturday? Typically, they always say yes because guess what? It's free content, and who wouldn't want free content? So you can either do free or you can really start off with a very low price, depending on what you feel comfortable with. And when I first started, I did it for free. So I reached out to them and said I was going to do it for free. So I went in there, took my gear and created content around events. So then I was able to use this content and put it on my website as like, here is my portfolio. I can create event videos for you. So it's easy for me to get the next client because I can say, hey, here is proof that I can do a video for you to cover your event. And slowly you begin to build your portfolio and you slowly begin to charge and begin to get clients. That's how I did it. The second thing that I did as well to get my foot into the door too as well was reaching out to medium level media companies and basically cold email, DMing them and asking to be a contractor for them for their next shoot. I noticed that most media companies, which is at the point where we've gotten to now, what we do is we hire subcontractors to do a particular job. So for example, if I have a shoot next week, I would hire a DP, I would hire a gaffer to go do that particular shoot. I wouldn't actually do it myself. Whereas when I first started, I was doing it all myself. So I would simply find a media agency and I would just charge them to be out there for a particular day to help them to do their shoot, either for free or you can start off with a low price and they'll pay you to do certain things. And then now, if you so happen to get connected with them and you build a proper relationship with them, as time goes on, if they have shoots, they would definitely call you back again and do it with you. And then next time, you can definitely strike a deal with like, all right, whatever we create next time, can I use this as my portfolio for my website? And most of the time, they would be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then that's what you can, that's an easy way to, as well to get it. Very, very high quality video that you can take that you did as a team and put on your website and say you can do it. And guess what? You can do it, yes. So don't feel like you're gonna have imposter syndrome saying, oh, what if someone actually calls me out to do a video of that caliber? Guess what? You already have these guys in the industry. Worst comes to worst, if you think you cannot do it, refer to them. Ask them to come on board and help you do it. The same way they called you to help them. Do that. So that's the way to get started. Honestly, building a portfolio is not the easiest thing. I can empathize with you on that. It's difficult, but honestly, you have to stay persistent. And also remember, you don't need 100 videos. 1 or 2 videos in a particular type of industry you want to target. For example, if it's real estate videos, honestly, get 1 solid video or 2 at most and put that on your website and you're good to go. Don't wait till you have 700 videos. No. 1 or 2 is absolutely good enough. Make it presentable, make it look really pretty and good. That's the kind of industry you're in. You're in the industry of making things look presentable. So make sure you are presentable and you should be okay. So step number 4 is finding and attracting clients. And this is one of the biggest challenges for most freelancers. But here's where we get it easy. And I think it was easier for me at the beginning because of this strategy that I implemented. When I was buying my gears and my cameras, my lights and all of that, I honestly rigged them all up. When I got my lights, I got like the large Godox lights to take enough space. I got a camera, rigged it all up with all the bells and whistles. And when I was out there in shoots, I just looked like I was shooting for a TV station, But I did it intentionally. The reason was because I knew people would come up to me and speak to me, especially if you have all this fancy gear. Now, you want to make sure your skills matches your level of gear. Yeah, so once you figure that out, but what I was doing was I wanted to be a walking billboard. Everyone in my team had a polo shirt with our brand on it. We looked like a serious company. Our presentation was very important to us because I know people will walk up to us and be like, hey, oh, I see you guys at this wedding. I just remembered, maybe maybe I could hire you guys, your services for my daughter's wedding next week, something like that. You then end up, because people are looking for videographers, but the thing is sometimes they just don't know where to find them. So whenever I go out there, I like to be loud, proud, and advertise myself, a walking billboard for myself. So that's what I was doing at the very beginning, and it honestly worked for me. Every single event I went to, somebody would definitely walk up to me and ask me a question. So I'll recommend you do that. So compared to if, assuming I just went with my phone on a gimbal, I could still do a good job. But honestly, I didn't think it was going to help me get my next client. So which is why I decided to invest in myself and get all of these gears and make myself look like $1 million company so that I can get $1 million client. So that was my approach, and honestly worked for me. I got clients every single time I went to these events. So if you want to try that, go ahead. I'll definitely recommend that. So the next thing you want to do is be on most other freelance platforms. So for example, if I told you to go buy a car, where would you go? You go to a dealership most of the times. So you need to go to where people are going to. So if somebody's looking for a videographer, where are they going to? So you want to be exactly there on those platforms online. So you want to look at those freelance platforms, put your service up there, upload your portfolio, and start getting clients. So you have those like Fiverr, Upwork, all those places. Even though you might not be getting gigs, just be present there just in case. You know what I mean? Next is cold calling. Honestly, cold calling is not fun for some people. Some people love it. So it's definitely part of the business. You need to learn how to cold call, but before you cold call, honestly uncover what value you're providing to the person you're calling. When we were doing it, I noticed that for a certain period of time, we were getting a lot of NGOs. We're creating a lot of videos for them. And when I saw a little bit of a pattern, what I did was I started calling up a lot of other NGOs in the area and tell them, hey, by the way, we are creating content for this is so NGO. This is the content we created, and we're hoping to create this kind of content for you if you are interested. So sometimes they would say yes, sometimes they would say no. It's just the nature of it, but you just got to keep on doing it. So honestly, the best way is having your clients come to you. Just like I explained, whenever I go to events, I made myself look appealing for people to want to speak to me. Online, you have to make yourself appealing. You need to create content, social media content. You need to make your website look good so that they can just search you and find you and be like, oh, I think you can do the job. So make sure that you're making yourself appealing online for people to want to come to you and do business with you. The next one is partnering up with other media companies, and this is another way of getting clients. Sometimes for us, when we get clients who are not necessarily a good fit for us, we normally pass them to somebody else. So you want to be that person who is on the other side receiving the recommendations from the media company. So build that kind of rapport with other media people and other agencies too as well, because you never know. You want to make sure you're having all your doors open and people can send you clients from different avenues. Step number 5 is managing clients' projects from start to finish. Now, this is absolutely important. When you get a client, the first thing you want to do is set up a discovery call. Now, what is a discovery call? This is the time where you call the client to understand exactly what their needs and goals are. You want to make sure that this is actually done, because you don't want to show up that day of the shoot or deliver something that they did not want at the beginning. You don't want an unsatisfied client. Now, preferably what you want is you want to make those agreements written, which is a proposal. Now, when you send a proposal, you want both parties to sign, because what's in the proposal is a detailed breakdown of what the scope of work is going to be, what the deliverables are, what the expectations and timeline of this project is going to be. Honestly, you want to make sure that you guys are both on the same page, because we had a situation where a client wanted us to create a full video for them, but also assume that we're going to provide social media clips, but it was not in the package in which they picked. And because we didn't have any, it was at the beginning, and we didn't have any proposal, it was a he said, she said type argument, and you don't want to have that with a client. You want to always have a proposal, because you could always pull that and show them like, but we both agreed to this, you signed this. If you didn't read it, that's on you. Like, you know what I mean? And if you made the error, they could, oh yeah, sorry, that was something in the proposal, let me fix that up real quick and get that done. So that's why I recommend, make sure you have a very good proposal. And it doesn't have to be crazy. I have an example here for you to see, and they'll be provided to you if you want to have access to them in the link below. So next is proper invoice. Keep proper invoice, because it helps you stay organized. You want to know who's paid you, who hasn't paid you, and you want to be able to go back and keep track of what your sales and revenue is for your proper bookkeeping. Next is project management. Honestly, you want to use tools like Notion just to stay on top of things like that from beginning till the end. And you want to share this with the clients as well, so that they know how things are going. Remember, you start to have difficult clients when you're not communicating properly to your clients. So you want to make sure that you want to keep them throughout the whole entire process. Okay, we've done with the shooting, we're moving into the editing phase, and this is going to take about a week to 2 weeks. Once that's done, I'm going to provide you with the deliverables. So you want to make sure you have proper management, project management skills and communications as well. Number 5 is branding and packaging. And honestly, what this is all about client experience. That's what it is. That's what luxury brands tend to give out, and that's why they charge such high prices, because the experience is different. If you think of an Apple, when you buy the box, when you buy your computer and they present you the box and you're unwrapping it, honestly, it's an experience. And for freelancers, they start off really good. They create an amazing experience, but sometimes the deliverables in which they're packaging it is just horrendous. Imagine you bought an Apple laptop, which is over $2,000, and they put it for you in a brown paper bag with no box, nothing. They just packed it up, put it in a brown paper bag, and gave it to you, handed it off to you at the end. That's how some freelancers deliver their videos. So you created this amazing product, and the way you handed it off was just, Here, download it from the G drive. Here you go. It's absolutely horrible. You want to make that an experience too as well. I have an example here of how we tend to deliver our products, and you can come up with your own creative ways, but understand your branding is creating a proper experience for your client from start to finish. You want to give that white glow feel so that you can command higher prices. Invest in educating and learning, so it's just as important as anything else. Now let's talk about what to charge as a videographer. When I first started, I honestly wanted somebody to spoon feed me the answers. I honestly couldn't figure out what to charge a client. And if somebody had just given me a cheat sheet of what the prices were, I honestly would have appreciated that instead of having to figure it out for myself. So which is what I'm doing in this video. With this video, I'm actually going to give you what to start charging your clients now as a beginner or as an intermediary. This is up to you if you choose to do this. Please remember, it's a guidelines and you can follow it and then tweak it as much as you can. You don't have to follow it to the T, but it's just guidelines. So let's begin. So first things first, you definitely need to figure out where you belong. You need to figure out your skill level. If you are a beginner, in the middle, or an expert. So I would say there's 6 ways in which you could price your service. So number 1 is value-based pricing. And I learned this from reading the book by Blair Enns. It's Pricing for Creatives. I recommend you go read the book. It breaks it down really well as to how you can do the pricing. So basically, the synopsis of what value-based pricing is basically saying, if a business approaches me and my service to them is probably end up going to bring them 100,000 worth of business. Well, I'll say, well, since you're going to potentially make 100,000 for my service, why don't I charge you 10% of that? So let me charge you 10,000 for this piece of content that I'm going to create for you, because it could lead to produce 100,000 worth of revenue for your company. So that's what value-based pricing is. Next is hourly pricing. And I know a lot of people on YouTube now tell you not to do hourly-based pricing. But when I was starting out, it was the only way I knew. I had the job and that's all I know. So at the beginning, it's easier to do hourly-based pricing because I had the job when I was making so amount of money per hour. Well, why don't I just take that same thinking and just apply it to my videography business when I first started? There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's fine. Start out with hourly based pricing, and as time goes on, you figure it out. So what it is just simply figure out how much you want to get paid per hour and then charge that. And then slowly you progress to daily rate. So because I started from hourly, and then as soon as when I get comfortable with hourly, then I moved next to daily rates, having a daily rate. So all right, if you want me to come out to shoot for a day, I'm going to charge you $150 per day. And then you slowly graduate. The third one is monthly retainers. And what this is simply getting a client to pay you every single month for a particular service. So take, for example, if I was working with a restaurant and I created content for them every single month, I could just say, hey, pay me $1,500 and I'll do 3 videos for you every single month. I'll come and I'll do the shoots. And they pay me that every single month. So absolutely phenomenal pricing strategy too as well, if you do choose to pick that option. Next is fixed project pricing. So meaning that you price for the entire project. So when you get a client and they're like, hey, listen, we want you to take care of all of this. We don't want to do anything. You handle all of it, start to finish, everything. Then you simply go in, figure out what the cost of the project is and how much you want to put markup, and just make it a flat fee. And then you charge the client like, hey, this project is going to cost you $20,000 for this job. And they just pay you $20,000 and that's it. And you figure out the rest to execute. So that's what fixed project pricing is. The next pricing model will be packaging your services. So this is basically having itemized things. For example, photographers are great for this. All right, for 10 photos, I charge you $300, you know. For 20 photos, I charge you $600, you know. For 40 photos, I charge you $1,000, you know. So this is packaging or itemizing your service into basically a product, and then you charge based on the necessary deliverables. So those are the pricing models you need to pick from. Now I'm going to tell you what to actually charge your clients and which pricing strategy that I liked at the beginning. At the beginning, the day rate pricing strategy was my favorite. It's easy to use because I could charge agencies my day rates, and a random person off the street who asked me to do cover their event, I would just simply charge them using my day rate. All right, if you want me out there for 8 to 12 hours in a day, you would have to pay me so amount. It's easy. Everybody understood day rate, which is why I love that. So let's start off. If you are a beginner, you could price your day rate at $150 to $250 per day. And this usually includes if you already have your gear. If you are an intermediate, what I would say you can price yourself is at $350 to $650 day rate. This usually you have a higher level equipment, you have a higher level camera, a higher level tripod, you know, a higher level lighting system. You've already been in the game for a little bit. You understand more nuances. You are better than you were when you first started. You've invested in yourself. You've taken some courses. You know better, and you're faster even. So you can price yourself at the intermediate level. You command that price, and typically agencies will pay you that amount. You know, if you are a DP, you can definitely charge that amount. So next is if you are a professional. If you've been doing this for a couple of times, you've done a couple of movies, you've won maybe some feature film awards, you know, you've done this for a while, you've done some high-level commercials under your belt, you've built a solid portfolio. You can honestly charge between $900 to $3,000, around that range as a professional. So the next pricing strategy that I normally do is a fixed pricing strategy. I like this a lot simply because it's easy. I just need to figure out what my cost is for the whole entire project and how much I want to make from it. And I just put those numbers in and I just have a fixed amount. I like it because it's harder to argue about this price because I know what my costs are. So if somebody's trying to lowball me, won't necessarily budge because I'm like, no, these are my costs. This is what it actually cost me to produce it. So that's why I like it, because if I did arbitrary numbers, if I pulled numbers out of the hat just randomly, if somebody was trying to bargain with me, I didn't have anything to defend me. Like I don't have anything to fall back and be like, I can't budge because of. But when I use the fixed pricing model, honestly, there's no room for negotiation. Absolutely not. If you are interested in the project-based pricing, I'll give you some of the numbers that you can start off with. So for project-based pricing, let's rank it. You have the small projects, medium projects, and then high-end projects. So for small-end projects, this is simple, short promotional videos, event videos. You're going out there for 8 to 12 hours a day, and that's it. You're wrapped, you're done. You could charge anywhere between $200 to $1,200 for those videos, right? And then if it's a medium-sized project, so this include like a commercial for a particular, a company that's down the street from you, like those kind of things, where it includes maybe multiple day shoots. Maybe you're out there for 3 or 4 days shooting different B-rolls to make a commercial, that kind of project, and if it's a company, you factor that into as well, things like that. I like to charge between $2,500 to $10,000 for that particular project, right? And then if you're talking about high-end projects, I'm talking about if you're doing major commercials, if you're doing complex videos, if you're talking about like a documentary, for example, you charge anywhere between $20,000 to $100,000. That's what I go with. So in this Excel sheet, this is this very simple Excel sheet that you can use to figure out how to charge a client or how much you charge per hour. So here we have the you have the team member cost. So basically yourself, or if you're doing this with somebody else, how much do you guys make? And honestly, you can start off with whatever full-time job or part-time job you have right now. If you make $20 an hour, you can start by charging $20 an hour. So put your name in here. I'll put my name. So Fahad, my role is the videographer. And then you put how many hours you're going to be working for that particular day. If it's a 12 hours or 8 hours, you figure that out. And then you charge $20 per hour. So here, I charge $20 per hour, which is what my rate is. Maybe that's what my full-time job is. So start from there. So meaning that for 12 hours, I get paid $240. Now, you also have to factor in what other costs do you have? Rental cost. So for example, if I'm going to be renting an equipment for this thing, let's assume a mic, and then the mic for this, because maybe we're doing an interview and it's going to be for, 12 hours. You figure out how much it costs. Maybe it costs, when you rent it at a place, it costs maybe $3 to rent per hour, or you can reverse it when you go to those rental places. They tell you what the price is. Maybe it costs us $36 to rent the microphone. Now it's $36. Now what's our total cost? It's $240, which is my labor hours, and the rental cost of $36. So now our total cost for this is going to cost us $276. Now we look, okay, all right, how much profit margins do we want to make? Simple. Maybe you say, all right, I just want an extra $100 in this. So what this is, you put in your project budget. So let's assume you say this is $376. An additional $100 is what I want to make in profit. Now all right, good. I know how much it's going to cost me in labor, which is $20. And then I know how much I'm going to be charging the guests, which is $31, to be able to make my profit margin and be able to go home happy. So this is how you can use the hourly based pricing to figure out if you are just starting out. This is the easiest way I'd recommend. So if you decide to charge your client a fixed project fee and you just want to calculate all your costs and just simply charge them a flat amount to your client, you can definitely do that. So here, let's look at this Excel sheet. This would be great for that. So with this Excel sheet, you can just simply look into it. You can figure out what your pre-production cost is. So if, for example, you're going to be hiring a producer and it's going to cost you, $35 an hour, and you're going to need them for 8 hours. So you calculate how much that is. And then if you're going to be traveling for this, maybe you have to travel to a different city, you put in that amount and then your total, which is $780 for pre-production cost. Your production cost, you have crew salary. It's just yourself. You factor that in, you get paid $20 an hour. For 8 hours for this project, you figure it's going to take 8 hours to complete, and then you make $224 from this. You also figure out how much it's going to cost you to rent the equipment. If it's $600, you put that for all the gears you're going to rent. sound production. Like, what I mean, if you're going to hire a sound guy and it's going to take 8 hours and charge you $18, you simply impute those information and you have your total. Makeup and hair, location, and expenses. You figure how much those are going to cost you and you have your total. So you know what your pre-production cost is. Now you know what your production cost is. Also, you want to know what your post-production cost is. For example, editing takes a lot of time. So all right, it's going to take me 24 hours to edit this, and I'm going to get paid $20 an hour for each hour I spent editing this video, and then total it comes to 500. And then also, if you're going to purchase storage for this entire project, you know how it is as a videographer, you always factor in storage. I recommend you do as well. So storage is going to cost $230. You factor all that in. If there's any additional expenses you incur, you put that in. And then now you know what your project cost is. It's going to cost you $4,038 to produce this. So you can simply charge the guest $4,038 for this project. And you can defend your pricing with this, because this makes the most sense for you to keep staying afloat in business, because you factor in the cost and how much everything's going to make and how much you're going to make. I would say go with this option if you've graduated from the hourly based price and you want to go to more of a fixed project pricing. So just so you know, this Excel sheet is provided for you. Just simply click on the link and you can have access to this. I think it was very helpful for me when I started out. So I'm hoping it will be very helpful to you too as well. So I hope this was valuable to you. Cheers. Have a great day.